Every once in a while, a film transcends its medium, becoming more than just a story. A gothic masterpiece born from unimaginable pain, a production scarred by tragedy, and a cultural phenomenon that redefined comic book adaptations. But behind the mesmerizing visuals and haunting performances lies a story fraught with a tragic accident, heartbreak, and groundbreaking creativity. This is the story of The Crow.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead.
In the late 1980s, Hollywood had a very particular idea of what comic book adaptations should be. Colorful, campy, and above all, family-friendly. Superman soared in his bright red cape, and Tim Burton's Batman leaned into gothic flair but delivered the family-friendly action figure the studios loved. The Crow, however, was different. It wasn't about superheroes or saving the day. It was a story of love, loss, and revenge wrapped in a grim aesthetic that rejected Hollywood's formulas. The origin of The Crow wasn't cinematic, it was deeply personal. James O'Barr, a young artist from Detroit, found himself shattered by tragedy at just 18 years old. His fiancée, Bethany, was killed by a drunk driver, leaving O'Barr consumed by grief. Desperate to channel his pain, he began sketching, pouring his anguish into the pages of a story that would become The Crow. He also drew inspiration from a 1979 news article about a couple senselessly killed for a $20 engagement ring. O'Barr crafted a narrative of vengeance that would resonate with anyone who had experienced loss. The crow itself, a mystical bird said to carry souls to the afterlife, became a symbol of love's enduring power, even in death. By the late 1980s, O'Barr's indie comic had begun making waves, its stark black and white imagery and raw emotion captivating readers. It wasn't long before Hollywood came calling. Producer Jeff Mose saw potential in The Crow, especially as the success of Batman proved audiences were ready for comic book movies. But adapting The Crow was no easy feat. Studios were eager to adapt O'Barr's work, but they wanted to sanitize its raw emotion for a broader audience. New Line Cinema offered a lucrative deal, but only if the story was toned down to a PG-13 rating. O'Barr refused, insisting the movie was meant to be raw. Eventually, O'Barr found the right team, director Alex Proyas, known for his visually stunning music videos, and producer Edward R. Pressman. Together, they began crafting a dark, atmospheric film that would stay true to the comic's spirit. Casting the lead role of Eric Draven was pivotal. River Phoenix, Christian Slater, and Johnny Depp were considered, but none captured the character's tortured essence. Then came Brandon Lee, the son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, who was no stranger to pressure. Living in the shadow of his father's legacy, Brandon was determined to make his mark on Hollywood. His audition for The Crow stunned everyone. He wasn't just acting, he was channeling Eric Draven. Brandon dove into the role with unparalleled dedication. He trained tirelessly, not only performing many of his stunts, but also working with O'Barr to perfect the character's look and mannerisms. From the iconic face paint to the way Eric moved, every detail was meticulously crafted. Filming began in late 1992 in Wilmington, North Carolina, where the production team built a sprawling, rain-soaked cityscape to mirror the comic's gothic atmosphere. Director Alex Proyas worked closely with cinematographer Dariusz Wolski to create the film's signature aesthetic, a blend of shadowy noir and surrealism.
The crow could bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
The soundtrack played an equally important role. Featuring artists like Nine Inch Nails, The Cure, and Stone Temple Pilots, the music captured the film's tone perfectly, amplifying its emotional depth. The sets, drenched in perpetual darkness, were as much a character as Eric Draven himself. But beneath the creative successes, trouble was brewing. The production of The Crow was plagued with problems long before the tragic death of Brandon Lee. Budget constraints, rushed schedules, and a series of on-set mishaps created a tense working environment that culminated in disaster. From the outset, the production faced difficulties. The crew worked under grueling conditions, with many night shoots in a rain-drenched, artificially lit environment. Director Alex Proyas demanded a visually striking film, but achieving his vision meant pushing the limits of both time and resources. Safety standards, already tenuous, were further strained by a reduced budget and a compressed timeline. Several incidents hinted at the chaos unfolding behind the scenes. Early in the production, a construction worker on the set was severely injured when a live power line caused a fire. Although the incident was contained, it highlighted safety concerns and the potential for accidents under rushed conditions. Another incident involved a disgruntled sculptor who had worked on the set for several days, apparently went berserk on the backlot and drove a car through the studio's plaster shop. According to later reports, the atmosphere on set was often chaotic, with corners cut in areas like prop management and safety supervision to save time and money. March 31st, 1993 started as an ordinary day on set. The crew was filming a flashback scene in which Eric Draven is attacked. A prop revolver loaded with blanks was used for the scene, but an oversight turned it deadly. Earlier, dummy cartridges, bullets with gunpowder removed, had been used for close-up shots. One of these dummy bullets became lodged in the barrel of the revolver. When blanks, which still contained gunpowder, were loaded into the gun, the lodged bullet was fired with deadly force. Actor Michael Massey, playing the character Funboy, was required to fire the revolver at Brandon Lee from a short distance. The bullet struck Lee in the abdomen, causing severe internal injuries. The set immediately descended into chaos as crew members realized the severity of the situation. Brandon was rushed to hospital where surgeons worked for 6 hours in an attempt to save his life. Tragically, he was pronounced dead later that day. The tragic incident was investigated extensively. Authorities determined that the death was caused by negligence, particularly in the handling of firearms and ammunition on set. The firearms supervisor was not present at the time of the accident, and safety protocols had been ignored or improperly enforced. No criminal charges were filed, but the production company faced lawsuits, including one from Brandon Lee's mother, Linda Lee Cadwell. The lawsuit was settled out of court under undisclosed terms. Michael Massey, the actor who fired the fatal shot, was deeply affected by the incident. He stated in interviews that he didn't think he would ever get over the accident. Massey carried the weight of the accident for the rest of his life, passing away in 2016. Brandon Lee's death devastated the cast and crew. Production immediately shut down, and the future of The Crow seemed uncertain. Many questioned whether it was even appropriate to finish the film after such a tragedy. But it was Brandon's fiancée and his mother who urged the team to continue. They believed the film was more than a project, it was a tribute to Brandon's talent and dedication. The production faced an uphill battle. Key scenes, including critical flashbacks of Eric Draven before his death, had not been filmed. The budget had already stretched thin, and Paramount Pictures, sensing a PR and financial disaster, pulled out. The project was left in limbo. Enter Miramax Films. The studio saw the potential of The Crow not just as a movie, but as a cultural moment. They provided $8 million to complete the film, bringing the total budget to $23 million. But finishing the movie wasn't just a financial challenge, it was a technical and emotional one. To complete The Crow, the filmmakers turned to cutting-edge technology. For key scenes, they used a body double, Chad Stahelski, Brandon's close friend and stunt coordinator. In post-production, Brandon's face was digitally superimposed onto the double's body using CGI. For the time, this was groundbreaking technology, far beyond what most productions had attempted. The result was seamless, preserving the emotional resonance of Brandon's performance without compromising the narratives. On May 13, 1994, over a year after Brandon Lee's death, The Crow was released. Audiences and critics alike were captivated. Viewers praised the film's dark, poetic visuals and Brandon Lee's haunting performance. Rolling Stone described it as spectacular and visually mesmerizing, while others hailed it as one of the best comic book adaptations ever made. The soundtrack became an instant classic. Songs like Burn by The Cure weren't just background noise, they were integral to the film's mood and storytelling. But the real heart of the film was Brandon Lee. His portrayal of Eric Draven, a man brought back from the dead by love and vengeance, resonated deeply, especially given the real-life tragedy behind his performance. The success of The Crow inspired a wave of sequels and adaptations, but none captured the magic of the original. In 1996, The Crow City of Angels was released, but despite its attempts to recreate the gothic atmosphere, it failed to connect with audiences or critics. Subsequent sequels fared even worse. Most recently, a 2024 reboot starring Bill Skarsgård promised a return to the comic's roots. However, it failed to resonate, recouping less than half of its budget. Nearly 30 years later, The Crow remains untouchable, a gothic masterpiece that transcends its genre. Its themes of love, loss, and vengeance are universal, resonating with audiences across generations. For many, it's more than just a film, it's a symbol of resilience and the enduring power of memory. Brandon Lee's performance continues to be celebrated as one of the most hauntingly beautiful in cinema history. His portrayal of Eric Draven wasn't just acting, it was a reflection of the pain, love, and humanity that defined him. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content.